Man, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. You know, it's a long time coming, man. Go way back about 4 years, and you let me get on the show, you know, and you know, guide me through this, man, bro.
Well, yeah, it's always been a pleasure working with you, too. Your insight and your opinions are always something that we look forward to as a guy who played the game. And obviously you can expand that now with all the sports, as you guys will be talking about that starting Monday morning on the Comcast network. And that's a pretty cool thing, and it's an interesting cast there. So we'll all be watching to see how that all goes down. So we're looking forward to that. And obviously, I'm sure this draft coming up will be one of your guys' first topics of conversation. After Barrett, all the things that have gone on in this free agent period, has that changed your view on what the Eagles need to do on draft day?
You know what? I mean, the only thing that it did change that we still need a safety, we still need a receiver, and, you know, the defense has gotten better since, you know, this offseason started.
The defense has gotten better with Byron Maxwell, obviously, but what are your thoughts now with Michael Kendricks? A lot of people talking about they got 5 linebackers and only 4 spots there. They made the trade for Alonzo. They just extended D'Amico. So what's that mean for a guy like Kendricks?
Well, if anything, it either says that Kiko Alonso is not as healthy as he's saying he is, or it means Michael Kendrick is going to be used as trade bait to probably go up in the draft and get a big-time receiver or big-time corner in Tremaine Williams. So I can't see them doing anything else because at this point they have 5 versatile linebackers that play in the middle, and they're not rushed linebackers, you know. So in looking at that, somebody has to leave because not all those guys play special teams either. So, I mean, how many of those guys? D'Amico Ryans won't play special teams. Michael Kendrick won't play special teams. Kiko Alonso won't play special teams. So who's going to play special teams? You know, and that's a position, you know, that's highly coveted in Chip Kelly's system. So, I mean, somebody's an odd man out. And, of course, they need a depth, but they don't need that much depth that they carry 5 inside linebackers like that.
Talking with Barrett Brooks. You can check him out on the new Breakfast on Broad starting Monday morning on the Comcast network at 6. How you getting up at 6 a.m., dude?
Man, we've been actually rehearsing for the past 3 weeks. You know, getting there at 3:30 in the morning,
Woo!
Prepping. Yeah, exactly. Prepping and everything. Being ready for the show. Having a broadcast from 6 to 8, and with all the co-hosts, and we're just really getting it going. Trying to refine everything, making sure that this show is going to be very, very successful. And I think everybody will enjoy it because we bring a little bit of that pop culture along with it, heavy sports. So it'll be a bit different than what people are used to seeing. A lot of social media type of events in it too. So I think it'll appeal to the younger generation, but it'll have a hardcoreness of sports talk like the older generation loves.
All right, and Barrett, of course, has been with us for a couple of years talking Eagles with us. Barrett, let's take a look. The Eagles obviously have made a lot of moves, and what I'm looking at, they're talking about possibly moving Brandon Boykin as well now. There's some reports out there that they would trade him. It seems that Chip Kelly is really valuing guys that are bigger. He wants bigger, more versatile guys. He looks at Boykin as a small guy who can only play the slot. He wants bigger guys who can do both things, and that's why it seems like he's really trying to find guys who can do more than one thing. And he said it before, big people beat up little people.
Well, and that really fits the persona why he didn't play last year. Boykin's probably the best cover corner that the Eagles had for the past 2 years. And it's saying that, this guy never got an opportunity to be outside on the, as the wide corner. So evidently there is some non-trust in Chip Kelly to put Boykins out there. So rather than, keep him at the slot position, why not move and get some value out of him? Because he's by far the best safety that they had. I mean, the best corner that they had as far as cover-wise for the last 2 years.
Barrett,
a team like Miami would love him. Brent Grimes, smaller type of guys, and they flourish with those guys.
Yeah, and, obviously they've done some things the last couple of days, too. I mean, they brought in Miles Austin. He's been hurt, been banged up, but what is he? He's a bigger guy. He's 6'2", 215. I guess Chip Kelly is really going to put his sports science to the test here. What do you think about all that? You're a guy who played, you've been banged up, you've been nicked up. Have you talked to guys that buy into that? I mean, there's a lot of guys here who have some injury history here. Are people buying into it, and do you buy into it?
I can't say that, man. I'm looking at this team, and it's like, more than, a quarter of the team it was on IR last year. And, I mean, of course, sports science and what they're able to do as far as surgeries and things of that nature, they're miles ahead of where they were when I was playing. And even now, guys are coming back so fast and coming back stronger than they were when they left. So, I mean, that's always, looked at as, all right, that may be a plus, and that's why he's taking a chance on these guys. But, look, man, that's a lot of chances that you're putting out there. I mean, we have over, it's probably 6 or 7 guys that were on IR last year that, including, D'Amico Ryans, the guys we had here, that are looked to as major starters in the starting role next year. So, I mean, a guy like Sam Bradford is now the face of the Eagles, and he's coming off IR. Kiko Alonso's a guy that didn't play last year. He balled his rookie year. So I don't know what else you're going to do going forward with a team as unhealthy as they are right now. So evidently he has a lot of trust in that sports science, and we'll soon see. But, I mean, how many days and nobody's healthy?
Yeah, we talk about what they've done on defense. They got Alonso. They've, got Maxwell. But do you look at this defense as significantly upgraded to the point where they're better as a defense right now than they were last year?
I do. The only really big hole that they have is at the safety position, and right now Wolf and Watkins are the guys slated to really take that position and do something with it. Unless they trade up and try to get a guy like Collins from Alabama. You want the guy more top than anybody in the draft is probably Shaq Thompson from Washington. He's a guy that played linebacker, running back, and safety. So he moves his hips well. He's one of the true athletes in this draft. So, I mean, if you're looking at somebody that they may potentially go up and get, I could see them moving for him, but I don't see him as somebody, that's going to garner a first-round pick, though.
Barrett Brooks is with us. Check him out 6 to 8 on Monday morning on the new Breakfast on Broad on Comcast, the Comcast network, and that'll be every Monday through Friday, 6 to 8, with his thoughts on all the Philly sports teams and the pop culture landscape. And Barrett, the big thing here is, to me, they let Hermans go. You played offensive line. They're talking about getting rid of Evan Mathis. What is your take on the offensive line right now? Do they do something in the draft? Do they plug 2 rookies in at guard? What is your take on what they've done with the offensive line this offseason?
Well, I mean, Chip said he likes Alan Barber. He's a journeyman that's, played very well when he had the opportunity to play before last year. He got hurt last year. Another guy was on IR last year, but he got hurt last year. But he did spell Jason Peters the year before very, very well and played, he's comparable to a guy like Hermans. He's just a little younger. He just moves a little better than Hermans at this point in his career. So I can see why they would, take a chance on him. I mean, everybody else got critical experience last year. They didn't play as well as, a veteran player would play, but they played well enough that they got a little wiser as far as what they can do out on the field. A guy like Molk, a guy like Kelly. These guys have went out there, got some critical game time experience. So they do have some depth now that they're comfortable with. And I think they'll go in the draft and get, around the second or third round and get an offensive lineman. Just, to add a little more of that depth and mold them into what Chuck Kelly wants to be. But I'm going to tell you the truth. If you look at it, this offensive line now is going to take a substantial change in how they're going to block. There's no longer going to be, guys going up on the second level and trying to get linebackers at third level and pulling around. This offense is going to be more towards a zone blocking team where there's one step cut back and they're going to have to get on guys, get up on the second level on those linebackers, but they're really going to have to push defensive linemen now more so than they did the past 2 years because Shady's a guy they want out on the perimeter. Murray is the guy they want in between the tackles because the whole philosophy now will be changed a little bit.
I was going to ask you, is this an indication that they're going to change their running style, that they are looking for a more power offensive line, a more power run team than in the past where they had a more finesse, where they had guys that needed to be athletic to get to that second level to help Shady? But now, do they want guys that are bigger and more road graders in that middle of the interior line?
Well, they're going to have to go to that way because Jason Kelly right now may have to look and bulk up a little bit, put a little more in his pants, man, because at this point he's going to have to drive big 3 techniques and 0 technique nose guards off the ball in order to give the opportunity for Murray to cut and get downhill. Murray is not a guy you want out on the perimeter. He's a one-step cut guy. When I say one-step cut, all the line moves in concert, and he just picks a hole, and once he sees that hole, whether it's there or not, he's going to take it downhill. He's not going to try to juke or anything. He's not going to try to get the extra yards outside. He's going to get what this defense is giving him, and that's what Chip Kelly wants him to do.
Do you like the switch from McCoy to Murray?
I would say that, it's totally different than blocking. It's just like blocking for Barry Sanders. You can block for Barry Sanders, go out there, have everybody block perfectly, drive them 5 yards down the field and dump them on their head, and it'll be a loss of -2. But then you go out there, you don't block a soul. Nobody at offensive line or tight end block anybody, and he'll take it for 40 yards. It really depends on how Shady's feeling that day and what he's trying to do. But if you got a guy like Murray, who's kind of like who I block for and Jerome Bettis, he's going to give you the crucial yards you need. It's like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So you take Jerome, you run him 3 times, you're going to get a first down. I think Murray's the same type of back. You run him 3 times, he's going to get you the first down, going to keep those chains moving, and that's what you need in the Chip Kelly fast-paced offense.
Do you like the upgrade, or is it an upgrade from Bradford to Foles?
I think so, because Bradford is a better decision-maker than Foles. Foles processed the defense too slow. There were guys running open all year last year, and because of that, Chip went in another direction. He never was really a Foles type of guy. I think he's an Andy Reid type of guy, but Foles didn't make the read quick enough and get the ball out fast enough to run his offense. Chip is a guy, he's a guru at making his quarterbacks look better than what they really are, and you'll see him struggle a little bit in this St. Louis system, guaranteed. But I tell you what, Bradford will go in, and when he's healthy, he'll flourish because he makes quick decisions, he reads defenses faster, and he wants to get that ball out of his hands as fast as he can because he played behind a very, very bad offensive line. He has some quality tackles that he will knock his head, 7-step drops. I think he'll flourish in the with Chip Kelly.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you as well. I'm interested to see Bradford. That was the thing when he came out of college, Barrett, was he was really touted about, number one, his quick release, and number two, his accuracy. And I think you're right. With Foles, that accuracy was just a step behind, just a step slow sometimes, more so than it was in his first year. But you even saw it in that 27-2 year. He was not this pinpoint, accurate, quick decision maker. I think a lot of that, he was aided a lot by some of the playmakers that he had, like a Deshaun Jackson, and obviously having LaShawn McCoy, it opened up a lot of things for him. And I think you did see, though, some of the same things in the first year. We just didn't notice it as much because there was more success numerically than in 2014.
Exactly. In 2014, I think 2014 was a tough year for him just because he couldn't read as fast as he should have, and Chip put a lot more in his playbook, and he couldn't handle it. And with the addition that the offensive line wasn't as healthy as they were the year before, it really put him behind the buck. But I tell you what, Sam Bradford is a guy, he does process fast. He does get the ball out of his hands fast, and that's all you want. That's all Chip Kelly wants in his type of offense. And also, if you look at the offensive line that Chip Kelly had in Oregon, the bigger guys, Howie Long's son, Kyle Long, was a guy that flourished in that system. He's at like 3'10", 6'6", the guy. Those are the type of guys he wants, guys that are road guys, want to move you out the way more so than the lighter guys. And that's why I say Kelsey needs to gain a little weight, because he's going to have to really drive some D linemen back this year.
I'm going to talk with Barrett Brooks here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. You can check him out on Monday morning on the new Breakfast on Broad. That's going to be on the Comcast network, and that's from 6 to 8 a.m. every weekday morning. And Barrett, let's look at wide receiver now. How about Macklin walking? Are you concerned about wide receiver, or is that not an area that Chip Kelly really values that much? It seems that he let Jackson just go for nothing. He let Macklin walk for nothing. So is he telling you that that position is kind of plug and play?
Well, no, I don't think it's plug and play, and he's going to suffer. I think Bradford will suffer from that if he didn't have Zerts and Sproles in the backfield. I think that the pass game won't be as good as it's been the past 2 years, just because he doesn't have an impact offensive guy now. Miles Austin is a guy that's he's not as fast as he used to be with his hamstring injuries when he's in Dallas, and then with him having the injury last year. Internal injury, whatever he had last year.
He had a kidney laceration.
Yeah, he had a kidney laceration. So he's not going to be the same guy, the same explosive guy. He was a fast guy. He is big, so he will have the opportunity to try to stretch the field a little bit. If he can come back at least 80% of what he was when he was in Dallas, when he had 1,300 yards, if he comes back and gets like even 900 to 1,000 yards, it'll be perfect for Chip Kelly because he's going to have to go very, very high in this draft and get a receiver. I mean, very high. That's what I'm saying. He may have to trade up to get somebody because I don't think at this point they have a number one receiver. Even with Miles Austin, who was never a number one receiver anywhere he's been, not even in Dallas when he's the number one receiver. He's always been a number two type of receiver, and he's going to need a compliment to him to go out there and play. Matthews, yes, will come out being he will impact the team a little bit, but he's not the number one receiver right now. He still has a year or two until he moves into that position. But I do see them going and getting a receiver very high in this draft. Maybe making some trades and trying to get another first rounder for Mike.
You always read my mind, Barrett, because I was going to go that route with you here. Sam Bradford, are you convinced still that he will be here, or do you think that they are still trying to move themselves up for you-know-who, or maybe they shock us all, move themselves up into the 9 to 10 range and take one of those wide receivers at Kevin White or Amari Cooper? Do you think Bradford is still a chip that they might move to move themselves up?
I don't think that they'll move Bradford because, like I said, a bird in the hand will always be two in the bush. They think of Bradford as being a franchise quarterback. They value him very, very high at this point, and I think it's more so because of Sherman's played. Sherman's played for him. I mean, Sherman has coached Bradford, so they have that tie. And I think he's really talked to Chip and shown Chip that he can maneuver him to be a starter in this league, a franchise quarterback in this league. As for Mariota, he's going to be off the board. There's no question within the top 6 picks, and they don't have enough to really move to get him or anywhere close to him. There is a possibility that Amari Cooper will be around in that 10-8 range. White, around the same area. But, I don't know. I mean, those are legitimate number one receivers. And, there's a lot of receivers in this draft at this point. So I don't know if they're going to move up to necessarily get up that high to get one of those two guys. But there's a lot of other guys that are played. The guy from Mizzou went to Oklahoma. I forget his name, Beckham he's a Green Beckham.
Dorian, yeah.
He's a guy. Yeah, Dorian Green Beckham. He's a big guy, 6'5", maybe 230. Runs a 4.4. He's a definite impact player. He just has some character issues. But I tell you what, if you get him in Chip Kelly's system and he'll engulf him into what Chip Kelly's culture is going to be, he could be a possible guy that they can look to be a franchise type of receiver, kind of a green Tron type of guy that can move with his body well if given the opportunity to take in that coaching and understand what it is to be a pro.
Barrett, I saw Peter King's latest mock draft. Not that these things are gold or anything, but just kind of throws names into the mix. He's got wide receiver Jaelen Strong from Arizona State, 6'2.5", 220 pounds. That's a new name that's kind of been thrown into the mix, but that size, again, shows something that Chip Kelly seems to be intrigued by, is the size. He's got Jordan Matthews, was a bigger receiver, and he took him last year when there was other pretty good receivers in that draft. He chose Matthews over some other good ones. He lets Macklin kind of go. He let Jackson go. And this mock draft has a guy 6'2", 220 pounds. He brought Miles Austin in, so it seems that that's the opinion of many, that he's looking for bigger, more physical wideouts.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Strong is not somebody that snuck up on me. I produced college football for ESPN. I worked with the game day crew that did a couple of games. In fact, I did one or two of Arizona's games last year, and he definitely stood out in what he brought to the receiver position, So I like what he brings to the table. He controls his body well. He's a bully out there. He's a guy that can press receivers, press DBs and run up their back and, really catch balls that, in the perimeter of his wing side. So I like him also. He wouldn't be somebody that would be a surprise. But if Chip Kelly went to go get him, he could possibly be a number one receiver in this offense.
Interesting. Obviously, the draft about a month away. Barrett, they have pick number 20 right now. What position do you think they need to target in that first round?
I think receiver, number one, and I would say safety, number two. If they don't go get a safety, I think Wolf will be serviceable at this point if he's healthy. If not, Watkins, they really like him for his size, but he's still a little too undersized. I think he's a better corner at this point. He's a better corner because he's got the size of a corner. Of a bigger corner. But I don't know if he has the toughness and enough weight to really be in the box or be in that slot where you have to bang a little bit with tight ends and running backs.
All right, Barrett Brooks, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on the Comcast network starting on Monday. It is called Breakfast on Broad, and you can now follow Barrett Brooks on his new Twitter handle, which is bbrooks72tcn, and that's where you'll find him every weekday morning now from 6 to 8 a.m. on the Comcast network with a whole bunch of new sports topics and varieties. And, of course, we'll be continuing to talk to Barrett here as we'll have to get into some more NBA and some more baseball stuff as we get down the line. The Phillies aren't going to give us much to talk about, I can't imagine. But this Sixers team –
Absolutely not. They're stinking it up right now. The Grapefruit League has been the stink league for the Phillies at this point.
But the Sixers team's starting to get into this. Nerlens Noel, man, he's got people turning their heads. He's got people paying attention.
You know what? He really shocked me. Instead of a rookie hitting the wall, we're going into, the second half of the season. We're deep into the second half of the season, and he's gotten progressively better. His jump shot, I can't believe I'm talking about a jump shot right now. We're not saying that he's the guy that you can go out 10 feet from the rim and shoot it, but he is a guy now that you have to go out and you have to cover him now. He's no longer just a guy you give it to in the paint, or if you throw it up and he'll dunk it. He's now becoming a decent, not a threat, but a decent guy that can turn his back to the backboard and make a move towards the backboard. I didn't see that at first. I thought he was a little clumsy at first, but he's starting to, fill his own. He's starting to look like a number one pick now. So I do see a drastic improvement in his game, and I'm really thinking, all right, do they get Jaelen or what? He's definitely playing right now, but we have to consider him a double-double machine.
All right, Barrett Brooks, everybody here on the Sports Bash. Check him out Monday morning at 6 a.m. Wake up with Barrett Brooks and the Breakfast on Broad guys if you can get up that early. I know I can't do that. I never could do morning show, man. I'm an afternoon guy at heart, and I'm never leaving. Never.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it, man. Hey, Breakfast on Broad, B.O.B.
All right,
6 to 8 a.m.
The BB and the B.O.B. will be O.B. on Monday. How's he like that? Here you go.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.